So, hey guys, this is Railroad Sniper here with a BeamNG drive video. Today we'll be showcasing the cars I've made in automation. I'm driving to the site where I'm going to show them off right now, so it gives me a little time to talk. Some things have changed since the last video, I guess. Not recording with NVIDIA anymore. This is I've got an RX 5700 XT now. I used to have a 1070. This is a pretty good card, but the drivers kind of suck, so next card I get is definitely going to be an NVIDIA one. Also, the recording was kind of harder to set up. I was having an issue where the desktop audio wasn't getting recorded, but only my microphone, so I think I've got that fixed now though. So the volume should be good on this video too, unlike previous ones like the Portal series. Alright, so what we'll be doing in this video is like we're starting at the default location and then driving to the seaside town. So you get a good mix of like audio, hearing what they're like, how they drive, all that good stuff, you know. Alright. So let's get into this. Try to do a drift in. Oh, that didn't really work. Oh well. So, I guess before we show off any cars I made in automation, this is my personal car in BeamNG. It's like a 200BX. In real life I have a 300ZX, so I kind of customized it to look like mine in here as close as possible, power-wise and stuff. Anyway, the first car I made was 425 FM. It's kind of supposed to be a Mustang kind of Fox body. Difference is, of course, it's got like a transverse engine and it's front wheel drive. This has got a 5.0, so it's a decent size V8. Once we get to the town, give you a few revs. Also, one thing to notice, I'm not playing with a controller, so the driving might be a little off. I've got a steering wheel as well, and some pedals, but they're a little tough to set up, so I don't use them a whole lot. So this is the end point. Oops. So there's some of the oh shoot. Oh well. Anyway, here's some revs. Alright, so the next car is the 60IT. It's kind of like a 240, 280, 260Z from Datsun. So this one's got a 6-liter inline 6 instead of like a 2.8 or 2.4 or 2.6, you know. It's actually kind of hard to drive. This car is from Cuban. It's one of the Japanese car makers I made up in automations. I got the metrics up too, so you can see like the horsepower and torque curve, as well as the speed I'm going and the brake temperature. So, oh, and the type of brakes, how many gears it's got, how high it can rev, all that good stuff. You know, miles per gallon too. Oops, well, don't want to be crashing, do we? Most of these cars I made in the year 2020 or 2012, which is like the default or newest year in automation, but If I made a car in a certain era, I'll let y'all know. So. Oh, and since I was talking about car manufacturers earlier, the previous one was General Automation. Alright, so the next car is the 662. This is like the big American muscle car. It's got a 662 cubic inch V8 in the mid mount. It's a pretty beefy car for sure. It's from Cerberus. You can probably see the badge right there. Three-headed dog. Being a muscle car, it actually like handles decent, but definitely not near as good as some of my other cars. I don't know if it's coming through on video, but it's actually pretty loud in the game compared to some of my other ones, so. Oh no. What a crash, aren't we? Might have came in a little hot on that one. Oh, this thing's a twin turbo V8 as well. I forgot to mention that. I'll mention the aspiration on the next cars. The two previous ones were naturally aspirated, so. Yeah. So that one. Here's the 828. It's also from Cerberus. This one's got a 828 cubic inch twin turbo V10, so it's even more muscly. It's got around 3,250 horsepower. It can get up to about get over 300, so it's pretty quick. Hopefully this time we won't hit the barrier guardrails, so coming a little slower. Excuse me. Alright, here's some revs. It's a pretty fun car to build. Okay, so this next one's from the manufacturer Silbereisen. So it's like a German company, Silver Cross, I believe. Or Silver Eagle, it might be something like that. It's kind of like a Porsche, you know. You could probably tell by the whale tail and the headlights, body style, and rear tail light. It's kind of going for a 959 look, or like a 911, you know, like one of those style cars. This one's got a Boxer 6 like a Porsche. It's a 6-liter twin turbo Boxer 6, so keep going. This one engine's in the rear instead of in the mid, so it's one of the few rear engine cars I have. I think I have like one, maybe two others. The rest are mid or front engine, so. Handles pretty good too. Not when you're on the throttle though. There's a bunch of like understeer because of the engine being on the rear wheels and not a lot of weight in the front. There's probably some danger for some snap oversteer if you go off the gas or brake. Oops, that's not good. Oh well. So there's some of the revs. Alright, so the next one's the Angelos DIS from Spartan. It's got a 12.8 liter twin turbo V12. This is my fastest car. It goes up to 323 miles an hour. Before some updates, it could actually get up to like about 349, but they obviously changed some that changed the physics, so it's not as fast now. It's still my fastest though. There were a few other versions of the Spartan I had at one point, but this is the best one version. First one had like the DCOE carburetors, and the second one just wasn't tuned as good on fuel injection. This one's got direct injection, so let's get going, I guess. If I can get the camera to work. I tested something on the drag strip on West Coast USA, and could actually beat the Burnside Special Drag Edition, which I think is the fastest drag car in the game. Like stock, you know. It's definitely pretty quick. It was like 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, so I think it's like 2.4, 2.6 seconds is how fast it is, 0 to 60. It's a little hard to control if you're launching it on the drag strip though, because you gotta stay in your lane. It's actually pretty stable once you get it up to speed though. Thought it might have gotten stuck in the ground for a second. Alright, next one is the AS Turbo from Silver Horizon. This one's a mid-engined Boxer 4, I believe, yeah. It's actually really good handling on this one. I did make a non-turbo version, but that one wasn't as fun to drive, I don't think. But it doesn't sound as good either, so. Oh shoot. So I crashed today. I don't want to flip it over, so we're going to reset. Most of the cars that make rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, but some of the cars today, like the 425 FM, are front-wheel drive. I'll try to mention if it's front-wheel or rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, but I might have to go back and look at some other cars to do that. So I think this one's rear-wheel drive only, so. I just noticed that sound effect for the turbo. Let me see if I can hear it. Let's see. You can kind of hear the spooling up, not just the boost. You can hear it ramp down when you let off the throttle. But I think it'd be really cool if they added that flutter sound, you know, when you don't have a dump wastegate or whatever. It's like the sound, you know. It's a pretty fun car to drive. If I make multiple versions of the car, I usually keep the most fun to drive version in the BeamNG mods, because I don't want to keep too many cars on here. Alright, so this is the Caesar from Spartan. This one was made in the year, I think 1945 or something like that. It was the earliest year in automation. I think it might be 46, I don't know. But this one's got a naturally aspirated V12 in the front. I can't remember how big it is. Some of the other cars I remember the displacement, but not this one. This one's kind of like, some of these cars are actually pretty interesting because I wanted all the cars in the Spartan series to have Spartan brand to have all-wheel drive, but the older you go back, there's not necessarily all-wheel drive, so I had to give this thing a 4x4 transmission. So there's like low and high range. It's pretty interesting. Usually on this one, I like put it in a low gear and to accelerate, and switch into high gear because otherwise it accelerates really slow. I'll show you what happened if I kept it in high gear. Now I'm like holding W down, so it's actually really slow if you don't do low gear. It's actually kind of interesting. This one's really fast to 60 as well. Like almost like it's actually not that much slower than the Angelos TIS I just showed y'all a little bit ago. Even though it's like 70 years, 80 years older. I thought that was pretty interesting. Alright, this thing has drum brakes, so it didn't slow down very well. We'll go around. I'll get a little bit more of this car today. Even then, it kind of slid. Oh well. I need to fix that pothole. This game is true to life. Potholes never get fixed. Alright. Next up is the Castor. This one's from Vulcan. It's like one of the few trucks I've actually made in this game. I tried to give it maximum torque. This thing has this has around 3,250 pound-feet of torque. And the way the transmission does, it can actually tow. It can tow the 225,800 kilogram Tasty Cola trailer if you're on a drag strip material, prepped asphalt or whatever. It's not very fast, but it can tow it, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, if you watch the temperature gauge, you'll see it gets pretty up there. And in fact, if I turn on all the diffs, let me slow down to a stop actually. But this thing can overheat pretty easy. Yeah, see, it's smoking now. So that's one thing. What's the one downside to this vehicle? But other than that, it's actually not too bad. Like I said, it can tow really well. Some things it can tow faster than the big rig, in fact. In a matter of stability, though, the semi-truck is way better, so. Definitely not one of the prettiest trucks. Kind of looks like a Dodge, I guess, yeah. Let's say a Dodge. This thing has a, I think this one has a 16-liter V12. I don't know. Twin turbo. I think it's 16 liters. And if it's not 16 liters, then it's like 12.8, like the Spartan. I think this might be the max size V12, though. I can't remember. Yeah. Oh, and you also got that dual side exhaust. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Alright, the next one is the CJ5. Z50. So this is supposed to be like a Camaro, like 3rd gen kind of, you know, I guess. But the back end definitely doesn't look like a 3rd gen. But it's supposed to be a Camaro. Look-alike kind of. It's got a... It's either a 5-liter or 5.7 liter V8. I think like a 350, you know. It's rear-wheel drive, so it's pretty fun to drive the car. I think a lot of the cars I make are way faster than they would be in real life, to be honest, because like a lot of them can get over like 150, can get around probably 150 miles an hour at least. Not the lower spec ones necessarily, but like the Z50 on this one, or like the NR1 on my Fret, or the Max variants, stuff like that. Those things they're always pretty quick, so speed's never really a concern when I'm trying to pick a car to drive. It's more like how I like it, how it looks, or how it handles, you know, how it sounds. All the cars are pretty reliable too. When I'm building cars in automation, I usually don't make sure it's all in the green, so I think the Castor one we just showed off was just the most unreliable car I've made in this game. Yeah. Alright, so next up is the COFs. Now, the reason I say the COF is because it has a front engine. I don't remember what the other letters stand for, but this also kind of has that Datsun body on it, you know, it's S130 or whatever style, but it's kind of got the Mustang taillights. This one's from Falcon. It's got a V8. I forget how big in the front. It's a 90-degree V8 though, carbureted, so you can spin the tires really easy. In fact, like it's like a burnout machine. So. Speaking of burnouts, BeamNG really needs to implement tire degradation. Like they have it where tire pressure can be, like tires can be burst, but they don't have it where you can actually burn out the tires. So, oh, and like I know it'd be really taxing, probably, but realistic smoke effects too. That'd be really fun. That'd add a lot to the visuals. The rear end and engine version of this car I actually made first, and it doesn't wheel spin as much because the engine's in the rear, so there's a lot of weight on the back tires. This one has a more powerful engine though to kind of make up for like the lack of traction, I guess. I don't know. It's probably not a good thing. I probably should have decreased the power so it had more traction, but oh well. What are you gonna do? So sounds pretty nice though. It's got that big wing on the back to help keep downforce at higher speeds. So it's good. Alright, so here's the comms. M stands for like mid or rear or whatever. This thing has a flat plane crank, I think. That's why it sounds like it does. I kind of like the sound of I like the sound of the just regular cross-plane cranks better, I think, to be honest. Now, like you saw before, you can still spin the tires on this one, but not near as bad as the COFs. It's kind of hard to control, though, as you can see. Because there's not a lot of weight on the front tires. I'm just not going to try to make it to the village. Here's the revs. Okay, so next up is the Destroyer with the Z and the LY. If you didn't see it, there's how it's spelled. It's supposed to be a 90s. This car was made in the 90s. Like I said, the year to 1990. think it's got a 4.5 liter mid-mounted V12. This is yeah, it's all-wheel drive. So if I like raise the car in there, oops, all the tires spin. The gears might be a little tall. Sometimes it stalls on startup. Maybe if I had an automatic transmission it might do better, but it's a manual, so. When I originally was making this car, I was kind of wanting it to be like a Supra or something, but I think it kind of turned out to be more of a Trans Am, you know. But this one's from Spartan, so that's why it's got the twin turbo V12 and all-wheel drive. Bounced up on that. Alright, so see what the next one is. This one's the Doria. This is also a Spartan car, so it's got that twin, well, not twin turbo, it's got the V12. I forget how big this one is as well. It's also got a 4x4 transmission, or set drivetrain, so it's actually, that's also pretty interesting, I think. So you can see this one's pretty slow in high range as well, so we're going to start in low range and bump it up to high, you know, we're up to speed. This one was made in the year 1950, I believe. Yeah, that's right. With the Spartan brand, I tried to make like a lineage, you know, like you know, Italian car makers like go back to like the 1800s or early 1900s and all that good stuff. So some of the Italian car companies aren't old, but like some of the prolific ones are, like I think Ferrari and, you know, a lot of good stuff. Yes, this thing has drum brakes too, I forget. This time we're gonna back up, so it doesn't take forever. Don't want to go in the water, do we? Alright, so the next car is the Fret LR1. So the Fret series from Falcon, it's kind of like the Corvette, I guess, for me. It's supposed to be like first generation Fret. It's got a 6.2 liter. Hold on. I'm gonna spawn up the Fret LR2 real quick, just so I can compare the engine size. I think it has a 6.2 liter V8. Pushrod V8. I don't think I actually limited myself on production year on this one though. I think this one is actually like made in like 2012 or 2020, so. Then again, the engine output's pretty low, so I might have, this one actually might be from an older time setting, so I'm not sure 100% on that one. I think this thing has an open div. I might have limited myself on this one. In fact, I do. Yeah, I do think I did limit myself because it's got a 3-speed transmission. So, seemed probably. Yeah, this is a 50s car. I made this one set to the 50s era. Well, that didn't work out. We're so close, so I'll just try to get there, but definitely got damaged along the way. But yeah, again, this is like supposed to be a Corvette, kinda, so. Now you saw the LR2, that's like supposed to be like a second generation Corvette, kinda. Second generation fret. They didn't really have the C2 body style, so I kind of chose this one. Like, this was the closest one I could really find. It actually is pretty similar. It's got the split back window and all that stuff, except the pop-up headlights don't actually move in this in automation, so I decided to not have hidden headlights. And like the rollover ones that the actual C2 has, but this one's got a revision of the 6.2 liter V8 of the LR1. So this one is, I think I limited myself to 1960 on this one. Yeah, this thing's got a 3-speed as well, so I definitely limited myself on year on this one. This one's hard to drive, so we're not going to make it all the way to the village, I don't think. Alright. Next up, the Fret NR12. So, this one's kind of an iteration of the Fret NR1 that's next up. If you've been to the Corvette Museum, you know they have a special Corvette there that has a Falcon or 7-liter V12. I think this one has a 7-liter as well. It's either 7 or 8, maybe 9-liter V12 in a stretched Corvette body, kind of. It's like a C4 Corvette, basically. I didn't limit myself on year on this one or the next one, though, so it's like, it's more modern, you know. Shoot. Bottoming out, aren't we? This thing has disc brakes, so I have no excuse for passing that up too late, except for me going too fast. Might just be a heavier car, I don't know. Alright. So the exhaust popped off. Some of the tips popped off. Alright, so next up the NR1. This is also from Falcon. It's more like, it's like the Corvette ZR1 kind of. It's got a 5.7 liter V8. Kind of like it's like a dual overhead cam, I think. Yeah, dual overhead cam. Instead of push rod like, you know, a lot of GM engines are. I think this engine was based on the, pulling up a picture real quick. This was based on the, all aluminum LT5. So, this one has a little more horsepower, but because the actual LT5 had like a 375, this one has like over 400, I think like 420, around that. You can see it up here. Like 410, I don't know. next up is the Gator. Now, this thing's pretty interesting. The car it's supposed to compete with in my like Railroad Sniper Automation Cinematic Universe or whatever you want to call it, is the Locron from Spartan. So you know, like Ford versus Ferrari, the GT40 versus like at Le Mans or whatever, Le Mans. I don't know how to pronounce it. So it's supposed to be like General Automation's GT40. I call it the Gator though, because man, it sounds really American, doesn't it? General Automation Track Racer or something like that. I don't know. Stands for something. This thing's got like a 3.5 liter transverse mid-mounted V8 though, so. And I limited the year to 1960. So it doesn't really compete with the Locron actually. It competes with the Lacon, which is like the 1960 limited Spartan version. So it's like Spartan versus General Automation in this universe. Sounds pretty nice, I think. I'd like to get different headlights on this thing because it doesn't look all that particularly great, but it's having trouble, so. I think the rear end's turned out nice though. It's kind of got some side intakes like the Countach, almost, but not quite. Dang, that's gonna be like a thing now. Me passing up the entrance. Oh well. Another thing I don't really particularly like is the mirrors, but honestly I like the body how it is, like by itself, but oh well. Alright. So next up is the Growler Max from General Automation. This thing's supposed to be like a Dodge, I forget which one's the SUV, but like the Dodge Cyclone or the Dodge Typhoon or whatever. Except it's from General Automation, which is basically my, like Ford slash, like GM slash, like Chrysler, I guess, I don't know, FCA. It's just the catch-all American brand, other than Falcon, which is like the American competitor to General Automation, I guess. So it's got a 5.8 liter V8 cross flat plane. I don't make too many like SUVs or like trucks though, so I don't drive this one a whole lot. But this is like the Max version, which is a more powerful version. The original had a 4.3 liter V6. Which actually, the engine shows up in a car later on that I made, like an executive car. Actually, no, it's not a V6, it's a 4.3 liter V8, that's what it is. So this one got like a 5.8 liter, so that's a good bit bigger. Better for hauling and racing on the street and all that stuff, you know. I don't know. Revving in the high school parking lot, I don't know. This definitely has the most ground clearance other than maybe the Castor in the whole group of cars I've made. I really don't like how flat plane engines sound that much. They do, I think they're technically superior though in like weight, so that's an upside. Okay, here's the Lacon, which is, or the Lacon. It's kind of, it's named after like, Laconia. This thing has a V8 as well. I mean a V12 rather. This is the one that competes with the Gator. The Gator is actually better than it though in terms of top speed and like I think in general because this thing's really awful. This one was limited to 1960 as well. And I was trying to get like what I do with the Spartan cars is I get the V12 as big as possible and I go from there. I think if I chose a body that had the engine mounted in the middle, it would have gone better because I had a lot of traction issues with this car. Hence why the wheels are so thin, the rims are so big compared to the wheels, and it only has 2 gears, which is not too good for a sports car. I had to modify it a little while back, because before I modified it, it couldn't even get into 2nd gear, like, and that limited its top speed a lot. Right now it can get up to 210 though, so that's like a lot better, now that it can actually like get into 2nd gear. That's still like one of my least favorite cars though, so. Okay, here's the Lokran. Like, it's kind of named after like the Lokrian mode, I guess, you know, in music. This is one of my favorite cars. It's kind of got that like Ferrari F40 kind of like rear taillights and kind of like it's definitely got that wedge shape, you know. It's a pretty fun car to do. What's going on? I don't know what's going on, but we're getting a lot of lag spikes, so. They seem to be over now, though, so. I spoke too soon. I'm gonna open up Task Manager real quick. Let's see. What is doing? Or actually, what I'll do is open up Radeon software. Because I do not know why it is doing that. It should not be. Might be the game acting up, to be honest. Sometimes that happens. That's one reason I hate AMD's graphics cards, because their drivers they're really awful compared to NVIDIA's. Right, so the issue seems to be fixed. So, oh well, it's over now. Once we get stopped, I'm gonna make sure my recording's still going, because I don't know what happened when I exited out of the game a little bit, so. Alright, let's see. Alright, yeah, the video's still going, so we're all good. Here's the revs. Alright, so next up, the LOL EXL. It's supposed to be a luxury car. Let's see. See what kind of, this has a 9-speed, so it's like supposed to be like really good. Really keep the engine low down. You can see it only has a red line of 3,000, and you can't even hear the engine. So I think this has a shoot. So another frame dip. It's got inline 6. I'm pretty sure the issues are because of the graphics card, not gonna lie. I never had this many issues with my NVIDIA card. Hopefully they'll go away. Might have to like try to stop this video and shoot, that's not good at all. You know, this shouldn't be happening. I have a 9700K and 32 gigs of RAM and a 5700 XT. And this isn't that demanding of a game either, so I legitimately have no idea what's going on. Let's open up Radeon software again, see what's happening. Shoot, that's a lot of frame dips for like zero reason. Yeah, it looks like the card just utilization is just dipping. Alright, my parents called me, so. Yeah, you can't even hear the engine though, so. Yeah, I legit have no idea why the recording is being like that, to be honest. Maybe it's this whole replay thing stopping. Maybe that's why. Let's go to the UI app. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Let's delete all those though. Okay, so this is supposed to be like an MR2 kind of. It's got a inline 3 in the back. A really small one, in fact. It's got a turbo. It's a pretty fun car. This is from BeamNG. It's supposed to be like my Korean kind of Japanese company, I guess. BeamNG's Korean also. So yeah. Has a lot of turbo lag, but once you get in that power band, it's really fun. It's actually one of the better handling cars too. And it's got, you can hear all that backfire too, so that's pretty fun. Fun fact about this car and the XR3, which is later on, like, in West Coast USA, the ramps at, like, when you're going up the road towards, like, Chinatown from the coast or whatever, like, these cars have a really hard time getting up that slope because of how low the power is when you're out of the turbo boost range. So that's pretty fun, you know. You gotta, like, get up to speed before you can go up. It's got a pretty cool red line though, it's like over 10,000 RPM. Alright, next up the Millennium. So this is from General Automation. This is like an executive car, supposed to be like family sedan. This is that 4.3 liter V8. I copied it straight over from the Growler, so that's why it's so loud. Like, if this was actually an executive car, I'd probably put a muffler on it, but oh well. I'm too lazy to change it, so. It's kinda got that vinyl top, though, you know. Boxy look, you know, all business. Just because it's all business, though, doesn't mean it's not, like, decently fast, though. It's got, like, a trailing arm rear suspension. I think it's got coil springs, or maybe it might be a double wishbone up front. I don't know. It almost crashed though, so that's why you don't text and drive, because yeah, you might crash, or you might crash into somebody. Here's the revs though. All right. Next is the Mark 12 TT, or MK12 TT rather. So it's got a mid-mounted V12 twin turbo. I think this might be the smallest V12 you can get in the game. It's supposed to compete with the XR3 and the MI3, kind of like a in-the-middle solution. This is from Keban though, not BeamNG, so it's like a competitor's car. It also like is kind of slow to start because of a bunch of boost lag. That's a problem with all the cars like this one, like the MI3, XR3, and this one, MK12. It's really fun to drive though, it handles pretty well. I think it looks a lot more futuristic too, but that's up to debate, so. This thing's red line isn't quite as high as the MI3 though. It's only 8,500 RPM. I mean, that's still pretty high though. It's not like, it's definitely not low. Alright. Next up is the Orion 3.0. Now, this is from Castor. I didn't actually make this car. My brother helped me make this one. It's basically his car. He chose all the options. It's got a V12. I think it's a max size V12. That'll fit in this chassis, so it's like a 12.8 liter, I think. Similar to the Spartan Angelus DIS. Dang, we're getting those lag spikes again. Dang, let me see how big the video file's getting. That might be it. Yeah, it's getting pretty big. It's actually like above 35 gigs, so shouldn't be an issue though. I've got an SSD. Even if it was a hard drive, I wouldn't think it'd be an issue. I might try to lower the bitrate, but I want to make sure the video's as high as quality as possible. I mean, in terms of visuals at least. I mean, I'm not the best video maker, so you gotta make do with what you have. So this thing's pretty fun though. He did a good job with it. It was supposed to compete with the Spartan Angelus DIS, but yeah, it's not as fast. So the other attributes are kind of arguable though. It might handle better or something. Alright. Next up is another car he made. This is the Orion Ax. He made this one before the 3.0. This is an inline 5 actually. Turbo inline 5. He wasn't as concerned with performance on this one. It's got a dual clutch, I think. That's why you're hearing the pops. This is from Castor as well. Handles pretty well, actually. Dang, there's another lag spike. Yeah, it's either down to the game or the card, so it shouldn't make any other videos at worst. So if I ever get around to finishing Portal 2 again, here's the engine revs though. Alright. Let's see. Next up is the RI series from Keeban. So like the RI series is basically like a bunch of cars with inline engines. This one has an inline 3 and the RI6 has a inline 6. So it goes 3 to 6 cylinders inline. This is a front wheel drive car. The other ones are rear wheel drive, so it's one thing to take note of. Oh, and it can do front wheel drive burnouts if you turn off ESC, the electronic stability control. So it's pretty fun. Oh, I gotta get rid of the handbrake, of course. And I accidentally reset the car, but dang, these lag spikes are becoming an issue. I have a feeling it has to do with me recording the game while I'm playing it, because I never have these issues when I'm actually playing the game. If you're watching this AMD, which I, highly doubt, but if you are, then you should definitely fix the issue. Because customers don't want to have to deal with these issues when they just want to record a video for fun. I mean, I'm not a professional, so it probably don't really matter, but oh well. Probably heard the revs earlier, but here they are again. Here's the RI4. this one's rear-wheel drive now. Now, all the RI series cars have a 3-liter engine. The only thing that changes is the cylinder count, really. And the looks, of course, and chassis, but I try to keep all the materials the same as well, so. If any of y'all following me are interested in BeamNG Drive, you've probably already heard of these people, but you know, like YBR is a really good channel, and so is Automotive Flex. Automotive Flex does more. He's more diverse, I think, and he plays like stuff like SnowRunner, automation, of course. YBR does automation in BeamNG Drive mostly, but he's still really good. Alright, RA5 next. These are all from Keepin', by the way, if I didn't already say that. Oh, and another thing to mention is all these are naturally aspirated. One thing I didn't think of that might be causing the slowdown is that this game's on my SSD, and I'm recording to the SSD as well, but that might cause issues maybe, but you know, you really wouldn't think that'd be an issue. I got like an Intel 660p, so it's like NVMe and everything. Should be having issues like this. RI6 next. Shoot. Next up is our K6. Now, the K designates a V engine, so that's why the MK12 earlier was MK as like a mid-K, mid-V12. This is as a V8, so RK8. This is also 3-liter V8, so it's pretty sound. It's pretty nice, I think. Goes all the way up to 12,000 RPM. So it's pretty high. nice run. Makes like peak power around 9,500 RPM. I think the only reason I set the RPM limit so high was because so I could hear the sound. The lag spikes are real. Funny thing is, it kind of looks like a Dodge from the front a little bit. Not quite, but a little bit. Even though it's a Japanese car. Alright, so this is a Slipstream Max from General Automation. It's like a performance version, like the Max version of the Slipstream, which actually looks quite different. This is the same chassis, but it's basically different in every other way. It's got a transverse mounted V6. I forget what size. I think this thing can also do front wheel drive runs. Yeah, not as good as the RI3, but it's still pretty good. This is a really fun car to drive, though. We're close to the end. This is the Urban Turbo. Kind of looks like a Honda Fit, you know. It's supposed to be like a hot hatch, I guess. It's got an inline 4 turbo up front. It's front wheel drive, so I'm not sure if this thing can do burnouts or not, but let's see. Oh shoot, I didn't put the parking brake on. Nope, it cannot, even without ESC on. So, well. I forget what brand this car is. It's either Cuban or Min Shop, I don't know that much. Because those are the only two like Asian car companies in the game that I have made up, so. Likes to spin the wheels a good bit. That's for sure. You can see the brakes get really hot too. Like over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Tried to drift, but it failed. Okay. Second to last car, the Warrior from Spartan. I limited myself to the year 1985 on this one. It's got a V12 in the back, twin turbo. You see the intercooler sticking out the back, like on some other cars. That's mainly due to how automation works, not because I wanted it to be in the back, like sticking out. The lag spikes are impairing my driving now, so yeah. It's a decently fun car to drive. You're not lagging. Okay, and the final car, the XR3 from Min Shop. This thing also has a inline 3. It's a little bigger. It's also turboed. It's kind of like an RX-7 with a. These are the closest taillights I could get to. They're like kind of dodgy, but like as in Dodge cars have similar lights, but it's supposed to be like an RX-7. This also has the engine stall issue kind of, but and this thing has a lot of trouble going up inclines at low speeds, but it's also really fun once you get up in the boost range. The thing revs up to 11,000 RPM, so it's pretty fun. It also will spin once you get into that range if you floor it. Yeah, we're just gonna rev it here. Anyway, so that's the video for today. Not like y'all are expecting videos, of course, but I just make these whenever I feel like it, so I'm signing out. Hopefully the lag spike issues will be fixed next time I make a video, but yeah. Goodbye.